5 things you probably shouldn't do when starting a 401k. Starting a 401k feels like you're doing the responsible thing. You fill out the paperwork. You pick something that sounds safe. You tell yourself, at least I'm ahead of most people. But here's the part no one says out loud. Most people think they're ahead until they realize how far behind they actually are. Because the mistakes that cost the most in a 401k don't feel reckless. They feel normal. And normal is expensive. Here are 5 things you probably shouldn't do when starting a 401k and what to do instead. Mistake number 1. Waiting until you feel ready. This is the mistake people don't notice until it's irreversible. They say, I'll start next year, when I make more money, after things settle down. But time doesn't wait for your life to feel stable. Every year you delay isn't neutral. It permanently removes years your money could have been compounding. And compounding isn't fair. The last 10 years of growth are usually worth more than the first 20. That means waiting early creates a gap that effort later can't fully close. Waiting feels responsible, but it quietly locks in a smaller future. What to do instead? Start as early as possible, even if the amount feels unimpressive. You can increase contributions later. You can never replace lost time. Mistake number 2. Skipping the employer match. This one is brutal because it's guaranteed. If your employer matches part of your contribution and you don't take it, you're choosing to fall behind coworkers who did nothing special. No strategy, no timing, no skill. They just said yes. While you told yourself you'd make it up later. Most people never do. And the gap compounds quietly while everyone pretends they're on the same path. They aren't. What to do instead? Always contribute enough to capture the full employer match. Treat it as part of your paycheck. Because that's exactly what it is. Mistake number 3. Choosing investments based on what feels safe or exciting. A 401k isn't supposed to feel exciting, but people still chase performance. They move money after it already went up. They panic during dips. They react to headlines. By the time something feels obviously safe or exciting, the advantage is gone. The strategies that work long-term feel boring. They don't reward emotion. They don't feel urgent. But boring is what compounds. What to do instead? Pick a simple, diversified strategy that matches your time horizon. Set it up, rebalance occasionally, and stop reacting. The people who win long-term look inactive until the results show up. Most people will hear this and assume they already basically get it. If you don't want to be most people, stay with this. Mistake number 4. Ignoring fees and fund details. This is where most people lose without realizing it. They trust the default. They pick familiar names. They assume small percentages don't matter. But fees compound too, just in the wrong direction. A 1% difference doesn't sound dangerous today. Over decades, it can quietly cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. No warning, no notification, just less money at the end. By the time people notice, it's usually too late to undo. What to do instead? Pay attention to expense ratios. Favor low-cost index funds when available. You don't need perfect decisions. You need efficient ones. Mistake number 5. Treating your 401k like money you can touch. Loans, early withdrawals. I'll put it back later. This is how long-term plans collapse. A 401k isn't just savings. It's future time. When you pull from it early, you're not borrowing from an account. You're stealing from your future self, with penalties, lost growth, and decades that never get the chance to work. The damage isn't immediate. That's why it's so dangerous. What to do instead? Treat your 401k as untouchable. Build a separate emergency fund so your retirement stays protected. Long-term security requires short-term discipline. Here's the truth most people don't realize until it's too late. They didn't lose at retirement because they made crazy decisions. They lost because they followed what felt normal. Normal timing, normal defaults, normal delays, and normal creates gaps you can't close later. If this made you uncomfortable, good. That's what warnings feel like before they make sense. Most people will scroll past this and assume they're fine. If you don't want to be most people, stay here. You probably shouldn't do what everyone else does, and now you know why.